Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Hello, Judge.
Hi. All right, we'll get started if everybody's ready.
Yes, Your Honor, we are ready at ACDC with position 17.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to begin our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. This is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused the cases of the offenses brought against them, and the case has been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's first appearance or initial appearance before a state court judge. So we are going to and are able to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, and consideration of a possible plea offer if one has been made by the state at this juncture. Ms. Bridgewater, what is our reset date?
Yes, Your Honor, it's going to be June the 27th for the SAP calendar.
Okay, June 27th. All right, and I want to also begin by reminding everyone and advising you this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, so govern yourselves accordingly. I want to also remind the defendants that you have certain constitutional rights. The first being that you have a right to representation at this proceeding, and you should know who your attorneys are at this time. Please listen to them. I also want to remind the defendants that you have a right to remain silent. Remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, or the occurrences of your case can and will be held against you. So govern yourselves accordingly. All right, position 17. This is Lydia Parvanta, 23 CR 0003780C. Charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 2nd count willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and theft of services. Offense date June 12, 2023. Pretrial, sorry.
12th arrest. Last was October, simple battery. Got an open case in Cobb County for violation of family violence order, simple battery. 2020 simple battery, 2 counts. 2019 obstruction, simple battery. 2014 disorderly conduct conviction, and 2013 battery DV dismissed.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This happened June 12, 2023 at the Doubletree Hotel at 1075 Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell. The defendant told the employees at the Doubletree Hotel that she would pay for her room. However, she failed to do so. And at that point, the hotel went to evict her from the room. At that point, she owed $140 on that room, and she refused to leave the hotel room after being asked by the Doubletree representatives to leave. At that point, they called the police. The officers commanded the defendant to open the door and exit the room. She refused to do so, and she was behind a locked door. However, the officers eventually gained entry and placed the defendant under arrest. The state's concern here is that we have a number of open cases all out of Cobb County since 2019. There's a 2019 arrest for simple battery, a 2019 arrest for traffic offenses and obstruction, a 2020 simple battery, a 2022 violation of protective order, and a 2022 simple battery. Those are all individual arrests out of Cobb County. For that reason, we are asking for a $1,000 surety bond, $250 for the theft of services and the criminal trespass, $500 for the obstruction. We're also asking that the defendant stay away from the Doubletree Hotel at 1075 Holcomb Bridge Road and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Again, our main concern here is the risk of reoffense, being that there are multiple open cases all involving this defendant out of another county. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Pravanta, is 40 years old. She was born and raised here in Georgia, Georgia native. She is currently self-employed doing DoorDash, and she's making a really good income. So she is not qualified for public defender services. Your Honor, this was theft of service for $140 one night, staying at Doubletree Hotel. The credit card was not working, I guess, for the first time, but now she can prove that there is a receipt that clearly shows that it was paid. So I don't think that this should be any more relevant. We would like to request for either dismissing the case or signature on bond on theft of services. And Your Honor, of course, criminal trespass and all these others came because of the theft of services. And she has another charge that this is the only thing that she is holding up. She's holding up for her to stay in jail. She was in Rice Street and there was nothing for her in terms of like tissue, no mattress, no water, no bed. She has been very stressed out about the condition of the jail. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
And Your Honor, in response to PD Kim's request to dismiss this case, this is not the proper forum for this. This is a first appearance hearing. If PD Kim wishes to request the case be dismissed, she needs to file a motion to dismiss before the judge that this case will be in front of.
All right. I'm going to order the $1,000 surety bond. That's $250 on the criminal trespass, $500 on the willful obstruction, and 250 on the theft of services. I'm going to order a stay away from the Doubletree Hotel, 1075 Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And that should be it for now. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the state.
All right. Next.
Good afternoon, Judge Mincy. I have a quick announcement for the
Uh-huh.
Spanish interpreter. We're ready for, on the jail court's iPhone, if they can be put on a breakout. It's position number 22 with Ms. Kim.
Okay.
Actually, it is going to be PD Wills.
Yes, I put that in the chat.
Okay,
Oh,
will
okay.
do, Judge.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
Thank you.
you're gonna have to go ahead and have a seat, because go ahead and have a seat over there. Position 19, Rucker.
Okay. This is 23 CR 003783A, Cedric Rucker, charged at 1 count of simple battery. Pretrial.
Second arrest. Last arrest was last year. Simple battery, criminal damage to property. It's an open case, 23 CR 005 526A.
All right. Stay.
Yes, ma'am. According to the police report, the officer dispatched to a dispute with weapons. Upon arriving, the officer spoke with the victim, who is Montavious Rucker, which is the defendant's brother. Mr. Rucker stated that the crime at issue arose from a verbal dispute, which resulted in the defendant throwing a frying pan towards Mr. Rucker's back, which struck him and spitting towards the back of his head. He was arrested for simple battery against a different victim in August of last year under case number 22CR005526A, and was given a $3,000 pretrial service bond by Judge Law on August 18th, and the case is still open. For bond recommendation, we're asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, no further contact with Mr. Montavious Rucker, and 1 day anger and awareness.
All right. And I'm assuming we don't need to stay away. They don't live together possibly, or?
They do not live together, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McLeod. And you may go ahead, Ms. McLeod.
My client is 20 years old, Your Honor. The alleged victim is his older brother who came to his home where he lives with his mom, his stepfather, and another of his brothers. His older brother came into his room and kept bothering him, asking him about a lot of stuff and arguing with him. My client asked him to leave and he would not leave. And he came in my client's face, and that was when my client simply responded to him. There's a lot of history between this older brother and my client, Your Honor. He tells me that he has been the subject of abuse by the alleged victim for a very, very long time. I was actually able to confirm this with Mom because I spoke to her. And he actually lives with Mom. She was very upset about what had happened. She said her older son had no business there. She did not want him there. And she has now severed any kind of contact with him because she did not want him at her house. And he came there and he was the one who was bothering my client. I understand that my client does have an outstanding case, Your Honor. But in that case, this was something that had happened with him and his stepsister, and I believe it was a dual arrest. And of course, they don't live together. It was a situation where she had come to the house and had been disrespectful to his mom, and he was just trying to defend his mom. My client he's had a semester in college. He's hoping to go back to college to finish up because he tells me that he had to stop because a situation came up with the financing and he just had to drop out, but he does want to go back. I actually spoke with mom and confirmed that as well, Your Honor. There's no need for stay away or any of that. I would definitely ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail and get on with his life and his schooling. And I also want to point out that the alleged victim has done this before. He is himself a convicted felon. And on speaking with mom, she tells me that she believes his aim was just to get his younger brother in trouble because they've never really got along. There's always been a history of abuse and bad blood by that older son who no longer lives with her to this younger child. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. All right, I'm going to, excuse me, order $4,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Matavius Rucker. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And that's it for the order of the court.
What was that bond again?
$4,000 surety.
Position 13, Jackson.
The file, when you call this people, that'll be 7,000 total.
Because of the other. Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Deputy.
Position 13, Jackson.
This is 23 CR 003772E. Tabitha Jackson charged with 1 count of driving, fleeing, or attempting to elude a police officer. Pre-trial.
Yeah, I'm sorry. 18 total. I got 2019 couple of FTAs, probation violation, a freight conviction. 2015 failure to appear, suspended license, possession of cocaine conviction. Last arrest I got June 9th this year out of Cobb. It says fleeing an officer, 2 counts of interference with government property, 2 counts of hit and run, driving without a valid license. And that's open. That's it.
All right, State.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on September 3rd, 2022 at the intersection of Martin Luther King Drive and Middleton Road. The officers went to initiate a traffic stop on a silver Chevy Monte Carlo because of a non-functional brake light. The officer then activated his lights and sirens. The defendant failed to stop, continued down MLK, made a left turn into Allen Temple Apartments. At that point, the officers notified dispatch and discontinued the stop and noticed the driver make in the vehicle run in front of a building and get out of the car. This incident is, Your Honor, as you've already heard from pretrial, a long string of incidents regarding driving and moving violations. This defendant is currently being held on a $1,500 surety bond. We ask that that be increased to a $3,000 surety bond and that the defendant have absolutely no driving during that time, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state.
All right, PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Tabitha Jackson is 34 years old. No, 34 years old, Your Honor. She was born and raised here in Georgia. She has 4 children, Your Honor, 13, 15, 16, and 19. She's a single mother who's taking care of those 4 children. And she's working as a security officer at Capitol Guard. After graduating from high school, she went to Atlanta Technical College for information management study. She's on third grade, junior in college right now. And Your Honor, this incident happened because of the non-functional driver's side light, which is a driving violation, traffic violation. I would like to request for signature on bond for this charge. And ask her to be released to DeKalb County, where she has a hold right now. So she's not going anywhere. We would like to request a signature on bond for these these charges here, so that she can take care of DeKalb County charge as well. If Your Honor is not inclined to give her signature on bond, we would like to request $1,500 remain set. Thank you.
And Your Honor, the state did NOD the charge of possession of marijuana, so there is only the one charge of fleeing and attempting to elude remaining.
Okay. I'm going to keep the bond at the 1,500 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. Trying to understand on the driving. Does the defendant have a valid driver's license? Or do we
Your Honor,
know? We
I am
don't know?
looking at her driver's history. The last thing that I am seeing on here is 2021 reinstatement date after failure to appear. So I'm not showing that her, well, actually, I take it back. Her non-commercial status is not licensed.
All right, so there will be no driving unless she has a valid license from DDS. But I will just put the condition on it, no driving unless the defendant has a valid license. And that should be it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further.
Position number 3 in Alpharetta.
All right. This is 23 CR 003781B. LaQuell Brown McCord, charged with 1 count of reckless driving, 2nd count of driving hit and run, 3rd count of willful obstruction of law enforcement officer. Pretrial.
First arrest.
Your Honor, I don't want to interrupt, and yet I believe this is Miss Wills, PD Wills' case. I want to make sure she's done with the interviewing at the breakout room.
Oh. Looks like she's still in the breakout.
We can move on to the next case, Judge.
Okay.
Position 21, Shen. Also have a visitor in the gallery as well.
All right, this is 23 CR 003769D. Johnny Shin, charged with 1 count of battery, offense date June 13th, 2023. Pretrial. First, all right. State.
Your Honor, this is Mr. Robinson's case.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Your Honor. What position are we? My apologies.
21, Mr. Shin.
Okay, all right. Pulling it up right here. Okay, officers responded to the location for a dispute call. According to the police report, Mr. Shin and the victim are reportedly boyfriend and girlfriend. They were together overnight at Airbnb. The defendant advised that he was in a heated verbal dispute with his girlfriend, and it did turn physical. Defendant reportedly had caused lacerations to the body of, I'm going to try to pronounce her name, Mrs. Zai Shu, when he struck her with a closed fist multiple times. And for the bond recommendation, before bond recommendation, may I stop for the victim, please?
Yes. Is Miss Shu on the call? Oh, she's not here. Go ahead.
All right, for the bond recommendation, we're recommending a $3,000 surety bond. No further contact with Miss Shu. stay away from the address 709 Wilson Road, no alcohol, drugs, and awareness, and a one-day anger management.
All right. PD Kim,
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Shen, is 27 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. About a year ago, he opened up a store in Chambly to do a game store. So even though his business is not making a whole lot of profit at this point, he is not qualified for public defender's services. So after today's bond hearing, he will be hiring a private attorney. Your Honor, my client denies the allegation. It was a self-defense from his perspective. He has injuries on his face right now, and he claims that Ms. Xu had a record in Hong Kong about other violent tendency that she has. We would like to request for signature on bond, as this is his first arrest ever. And we would like to request, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond. He has no objection to stay away and no further contact with Miss Jai Xu. Thank you.
okay. I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond. And that signature bond will be through the through pretrial per judge. I'm going to order that he stay away from 709 Wilson Road, that there be no further contact with Ms. Xu, that he take the one-day anger awareness course, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I think that would be it. Do we know who the person is in the galley? I don't know if that's the victim or not.
It's the mother.
Okay, I don't need to speak with her at this point. It's a signature bond.
Yes.
Thank you.
Should we do position number 20?
Okay. Hold on for 1 second, please. All right, this is which position again?
20, Alpharetta.
All right, position 20. 23 CR 003766J. Kayla Saunders charged with 1 count of battery, family violence. Pretrial.
Second arrest, 2020 resisting arrest and simple assault. That was dismissed out of Pittsburgh.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. Officer had dispatched to the location of offense for a dispute call. He had met with Mr. David Matvey, who was the victim, who stated he was assaulted by the defendant. Mr. Matvey stated that the defendant had choked and bit him because he tried to bring her into their residence after she was threatening self-harm. the defendant's acts caused bruisings to Mr. Matby's face. May I stand for the victim, please?
Yes. Is it David Matthew or Matt?
David Matby is spelled M-A-T-V as in vehicle, E-Y, Matby.
Oh. Matthew, okay. Is he on the call, on the Zoom? All right, go ahead, he's not here.
For the bond recommendation, we are recommending a $4,000 surety bond. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and a one-day anger awareness.
All right. Is this PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Miss Kayla Saunders, she is 23 years old, and she has been here in Georgia for about 2 years. She moved from Pennsylvania, where she was born. She has a community ties. She is active in her church, goes to church every weekend. She has dock sitting business that she has lots of clientele here in Georgia. She is self-supportive, and she can financially support and pay for her rent. She does not reside with Mr. David, and Your Honor, she denies the allegation, and she denies the fact that she was going to have self-harm or anything like that. That is not true, according to my client. And Your Honor, she graduated from high school, and she actually is in the middle of filing a TPO against Mr. David. She wants to have no further contact, and she is completely fine with a stay away from wherever he resides. They don't live together. He moved out. So they were at 1190 Woodland Avenue. Their name is together. However, Mr. David does not reside there. So we would like to request for a one-time law enforcement officer visit to verify that Mr. David is no longer there. And if he's not there, she should be able to return home. Thank you.
I don't believe the state asked for a stay away, is that correct? They did not.
We're asking for a stay away as well, Your Honor.
I'm sorry,
We're asking for a stay away as well.
from which location, what address?
Hold on, please. Pulling it up now. 1190 Woodland Avenue, Northeast Atlanta.
And I believe Ms. Kim stated that the victim does not reside there from the
Correct,
knowledge.
Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to order a $4,000 surety bond through pretrial per judge. I'm going to order the one-day anger awareness course. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, David Matby. I'm going to order that there shall be a one-time law enforcement escort back to that property, the incident location at 1190 Woodland. And if it is determined that the victim does not reside there, then the defendant can reside there. But if there are any belongings there of the victims, then Ms. Saunders cannot reside there. So I know that Ms. Bridgewater will know how to put that in the bond order with that
Yes,
one.
the judge, I got that, but what did you say? What kind of, was that a surety bond? Did you say?
Signature bond through pretrial.
Through pretrial, thank you.
Mhm. And the one-day anger awareness course as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Position number 16.
Okay. This is 23 CR 003773Y. Chandrika Moman, charged with 1 count of simple battery, pretrial.
A fourth arrest. 2016 shoplifting, obstruction. Unlawful to possess or display false fraudulent ID. 2016 shoplifting, first offender. And 2014 simple battery DV conviction. That's it.
All right, State.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on June 12th, 2023 at 320 Fairburn Road Southwest in Atlanta. That's the Country Oaks Apartments. The officer spoke with the defendant first, who stated she and the victim, Miss Keisha Mulkey, were having an ongoing dispute about Miss Mulkey returning defendant's car. And she stated the dispute happened on June 9th, 3 days before she called the police. She further stated that she walked up on Miss Mulkey and was sprayed in the face with pepper spray by Miss Mulkey, and that Miss Mulkey struck her with her car. When the officer asked why she didn't call 911 until the 9th, when this purportedly happened, the defendant stated she was too mad and didn't think about calling. She also indicated to the officers that Miss Mulkey was currently leaving the apartment complex so that they would stop her. The officers did proceed to stop Miss Mulkey and speak with her, and upon speaking with her, they learned that the allegation was the other way around. Ms. Mulkey stated that it was in fact the defendant who sprayed her with pepper spray during an argument where she was with other people, and that when Ms. Mulkey tried to leave, it was the defendant who jumped in front of her car and was struck. Not only did Ms. Mulkey allege that, she provided receipts to the officer in the form of a video showing video footage from a friend's Instagram that clearly showed the defendant walk up and spray Ms. Mulkey in her face. So based upon that, the officer arrested the defendant. She not only has those 4 cases, the 2016 felony obstruction out of Cherokee, where she completed first offender. She also had that 2015 simple battery family violence conviction in Fulton, where she entered a guilty plea and was sentenced with a different victim. She also currently has a holdout in Henry County for aggravated assault that is currently on her at the jail. So what we're seeing here, Your Honor, is between the felony obstruction, the simple battery family violence, and now the aggravated assault case, and this case, a history of violence regarding this defendant. And we do have concerns for the safety of our victim. For that reason, we are asking for a $4,000 surety bond, stay away from 320 Fairburn Road Southwest in Atlanta, no further contact with Miss Keisha Mulkey, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Miss Mulkey was arrested on an unrelated charge out of Clayton County, so she will not be present in court.
All right. Is this Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 35 years old. She is a mother of 3 minor children, 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old, I'm sorry. And she takes care of these 3 children. And she tells me that the alleged victim is a longtime friend and acquaintance of hers. The dispute stemmed from the fact that Miss Mulkey has had my client's car for well over a year. They had an agreement where Miss Mulkey would lease my client's car and that she would pay for it. Miss Mulkey started to gather a lot of tickets and a lot of parking citations and so on against the car, and it is still in my client's name. So she told Miss Mulkey that the arrangement could no longer work and asked her to bring the car back. Miss Mulkey became very upset and she tried to leave with the car. And that was when she struck my client. So it is true that she did strike my client with the car, although she told the police officers it was because my client jumped in front of the car. But she deliberately struck my client because she wanted to get away with the car. Bear in mind, she is driving my client's car. So this is where all of this arose, Your Honor. Ms. Mulkey did not explain to the officer that she, in fact, had hit my client with the car, and my client was just defending herself, and it was a result of being attacked by Ms. Mulkey, who kept refusing to return a car that is actually owned by my client, and told my client, I'm just not going to bring the car back. If she gets into an accident or anything, the liability is going to be on my client, Your Honor, because the car is in her name. So this is really what is going on. And as my client stated to me, they have been friends for a long time. So she was just very upset that someone who was supposed to be her friend has done this. I understand that my client does have some history, but I believe I only heard one conviction, and that was in 2014. I could be wrong. My client is a hardworking mother. She has these 3 minor children she has to take care of. And if she is given a bond of any significance, she will not be able to post it, Your Honor. Now, I would ask the court to take that into consideration in setting a bond for her. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to order a $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Keisha Mulkey. Stay away. I don't know, does Miss
No,
Mulkey?
Your Honor, this Miss Mulkey doesn't live there. This is where my client lives.
Okay.
Your
No
Honor,
further-
we would just ask for a one-time law enforcement escort to verify that because we have not had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Mulkey.
All right. So with the no further contact, I will order one-time law enforcement escort back to the incident location. And if it is determined by the officer that Ms. Mulkey does not live there, then the defendant can reside at that Fairburn Road apartment location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. That should be it.
And Your Honor, what's the reset date?
I think it was June 27th. June 27th.
It is June 27th.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, that's it for this case. Who do we have next?
Position 8, Garcia.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, and this is Garcia's son.
All right, just hold on a second. This is
All right.
23 CR 003765A. Emil Garcia, charged at 1 count of simple battery, family violence, offense date June 13, 2023. Pretrial.
Second arrest, 2018, driving without a valid license.
Okay, state.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident happened June 13th at 215 Old Tree Trace in Roswell. The officers made contact with Mr. Christian Ledesma, who is on the Zoom, who informed the officers that the defendant slapped him across the face. Mr. Ledesma stated that he works with his father doing landscaping and they were working on a job at that location. He stated he and his father were having a disagreement about the manner in which Mr. Ledesma was cutting the shrubs in front of the residence. And he stated his father continued to have a disagreement with him and became visibly angry and then slapped him across the face. At that point, Mr. Ledesma retreated and called 911. There was a small cut on the inside of his mouth. We did have a chance to speak to Mr. Ledesma. He stated he and his father reside at in Roswell. I don't need to provide the address at this time. He stated that the last time his dad hit him was when he was 13 years of age. He did say that that information in the warrant is correct, and he called the police because he wanted assistance in diffusing the situation. He stated he removed himself from the incident because he didn't want to fight his father, but they do have a good relationship and they both work for the landscaping company. He has asked for no violent contact for his dad to return to the residence. Based upon the incident, as well as the defendant's lack of history, the state is going to agree to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no further violent contact with Mr. Ledesma, and as well as 1-day anger awareness. We would like to sound at this time for Christian Ledesma.
Yes, Mr. Ledesma is on the Zoom call. Mr. Ledesma, do you wish to address the court today?
I'm sorry, what does address the court mean?
Do you wish to make a statement to the court today?
Not at the moment.
Okay. All right, just
Mhm.
mute yourself for me and we'll continue on with the hearing.
I
All
have
right,
a question. I'm sorry.
okay.
So you said the amount was gonna be $3,000 in order
No,
for
no,
him to
no,
get out?
that's the state's recommendation. I haven't given my ruling yet. I have to hear from your father's attorney first.
Oh,
Your
thank
Honor,
you so much.
we have no objection to current condition right now. $3,000 pretrial services is appropriate. We prefer to have $3,000 signature on bond through the jail. Son and father, they love each other. Your Honor, they live together, they work together. No further violent contact is very appropriate. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. All right, I'm going to order the $3,000 signature bond through pretrial or judge. I'm going to order the one-day anger awareness course. I'm going to order no further violent contact with Christian Ledesmas, the victim. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I believe that is it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
What was the
All right.
bond?
$3,000 surety bond to pretrial.
Your Honor, I believe that was a signature bond through pretrial.
I'm sorry, signature bond through pretrial.
What's the contact?
No further violent contact. And one-day anger awareness, of course.
Thank
you. All right.
Position
Anyone?
22, the Spanish.
I have a question.
Buchler.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Please
have a
feel
question.
free to call me. I'll be happy to explain everything to you.
Or,
You have the number for PD Kim, Mr. Ledesma?
I'll text him, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Okay.
also, I put some information in the chat for Mr. Ledesma. So if he would check his chat, that may explain what the question I think he may have.
All
Okay,
right, thank you.
thank you. All right, I'm sorry, Deputy, which number did you state?
Position 22, the Spanish interpreter case. Ms. Yu.
Okay. All right, Madam Interpreter, please raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly affirm that you will faithfully interpret, is it Spanish?
Yes, ma'am.
Spanish to English, English to Spanish, the proceedings before the court in an accurate manner with the best of your skill and knowledge and with no embellishments?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you.
You're
This is
welcome.
case, all right, this is case number 23 CR 00377G.
Este es el caso 23 CR 00377G.
This is, the defendant is Tanya Yorklo, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it.
Este es el nombre de Tania Urdo o Urclo.
All right, charged with one count of simple battery family violence and a second count of battery family violence.
Con un cargo de golpes y lesiones simples, violencia familiar, y el segundo cargo de golpes y lesiones.
Pre-trial?
Los servicios previos al juicio.
Second arrest, last arrest was 2022, alien inadmissibility.
Es el segundo arresto, el primero fue por inadmisibilidad como residente.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened June 14th, 2023 at 3200 Lenox Road, apartment B402.
Este incidente ocurrió el 14 de junio del 2023 en el domicilio 3200 Lenox Road East, departamento B402.
That is the address of 3200 Lenox Apartments.
Y ese es el domicilio de los departamentos de Lenox, del 3200.
Officers made contact with the victim, Miss Betsy Lazarde, and the defendant.
Los oficiales contactaron a la víctima Betsy Lazarde y a la acusada.
Ms. Lazard stated she and the defendant were arguing about their relationship.
La señora Lezard dijo que ellos estaban discutiendo por su relación.
And she also stated that at some point, the defendant got angry and pushed Ms. Lazard to the ground.
Y también dijo que en un momento la señora, la acusada se enojó y la empujó a la señora Lazard, tirándola en el piso.
This caused Ms. Lazard to lose her balance and scrape her elbow, and the officers were able to see the scrape to her elbow.
Esto causó que la señora Lazard se raspara su codo y los oficiales pudieron ver las raspaduras en el codo de ella.
The state did charge this case in the alternative, Your Honor, and so our bond will reflect that.
La fiscalía quiere que se refleje en la fianza todo esto.
The state is recommending a $4,000 split bond.
La fiscalía quiere recomendar una fianza de $4,000 dividida.
And that is going to be a $2,000 surety bond on the simple battery.
Con una fianza bajo garantía de $2,000 para el cargo de golpes y lesiones simples.
A $2,000 signature bond on the battery.
Y una fianza bajo firma para el cargo de golpes y lesiones.
No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. No further contact with Ms. Lazard.
Que quede prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas y no más contacto alguno con la señora Lazard.
Stay away from 3200 Lenox Road, apartment B402.
Y que se mantenga alejada de la dirección 3200 Lenox Road.
And one day,
Departamento 402. Thank you.
And one day anger awareness.
Y debe tomar un curso de un día para el manejo de la ira.
The state's main concern here is about the previous alien admissibility arrest in 2022.
La fiscalía tiene inquietudes acerca del previo arresto por inadmisibilidad de residencia en el 2002.
Which makes this defendant a flight risk.
Lo que hace que esta acusada tenga un riesgo de que huya.
At this time, we would like to sound for Ms. Lazard.
En este momento queremos llamar a la señora o señorita Lazard. Betsy Lazard, ¿está en la plataforma? Are you...
No.
Hearing no response, nothing further from the state.
Al no haber respuesta, nada más de parte de la fiscalía. I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm having a very strong storm.
Yes, I
in
am
the
too,
area.
actually. We'll see.
I apologize if there is any background noise.
A lot of thundering and flickering. We'll see how it goes. All right, go ahead, PD Wills.
Thank you, Judge. I would argue that my client is not a flight risk. She was arrested last year and she hasn't left. She's still in Georgia. My client is 28 years old. She has resided in Georgia for over a year.
One moment, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Quisiera, por favor, aclarar que mi cliente no significa un riesgo de huida. Ella tuvo un arresto el año pasado y todavía está aquí. Ella tiene 22 años y ha vivido en el estado de Georgia por un año. Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
She is employed by Embassy Suites and she works in housekeeping and will not qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office.
Ella trabaja para el Hotel Embassy Suites. Ella no va a cumplir los requisitos para recibir los beneficios de la Oficina de Abogados Públicos.
She does have a college diploma from San Marcos University in education.
Ella tiene un título universitario de la Universidad de San Marcos en educación.
I would ask this court to give my client a signature on bond. Essentially, this is her first arrest. Her prior arrest has something to deal with her status as a citizen or not being a citizen. But
One moment, please. Voy a pedir a su señoría que por favor considere una fianza bajo firma, dado que este es el primer arresto y el anterior estaba referido a la legalidad de su residencia.
I would ask for a signature on bond or the lowest bond that your honor is willing to set.
Y si quiero pedir una fianza bajo firma, y de no ser así, que se le otorgue una fianza con el valor monetario más bajo posible.
My client requests that she be allowed to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim. They work together and still live together.
Mi cliente quiere pedir que se ordene no más contacto violento con la alegada víctima, ya que ellos trabajan juntas y viven juntas.
I would ask at minimum that my client still be allowed to work at the embassy suites.
Y también pido que como mínimo que se le permita a mi cliente trabajar en Embassy Suites.
My client states that the alleged victim is scheduled to move out on the 25th of this month. So I would request a one-time law enforcement escort on or after that date to determine whether or not Ms. Lazard has vacated the premises.
Mi cliente, he recibido la información de mi cliente que la alegada víctima va a mudarse el 25 de este mes. Por eso yo pido que se le otorgue la escolta de un oficial de policía el día 25 o después de la fecha para asegurarse que la víctima no reside más en esa residencia.
My client states that she does not have any alternative housing or anywhere else to go if she cannot return to the premises.
Mi cliente me informó que ella no tiene otro lugar a donde ir a vivir si no puede regresar a la residencia.
I don't have anything further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nada más. Gracias, señoría.
I am, before I give my ruling, concerned I cannot order that someone can go work somewhere. I don't know if she still has a job there or not. But the Embassy Suites, I understand they work there together.
Yo no
that would-
puedo dar una orden de que ella no vaya a trabajar a donde está trabajando.
I guess that would be up to Embassy Suites.
Y
And this
sería-
incident did happen today, Your Honor.
esto sería en Embassy Suites.
I do not believe that she has lost her employment.
Eso creo que hasta el día de hoy ella no ha perdido su empleo.
The issue is I'm concerned about them being around each other, that there be no further violence.
Si si hay alguna inquietud en que ellas tengan contacto, no debe haber más contacto violento.
Do we know if they're related to each other or just friends?
¿Sabemos si son amigas o son familiares?
They are just friends. They are not related.
Son amigas.
And our information is that it's been the defendant who's been living with the victim for the past year.
Lo que entendemos es que la acusada ha estado viviendo con la víctima durante el año que ha pasado.
So we would renew our request for a stay away.
Por eso pedimos que yo pido otra vez que no se tenga más contacto entre ellas.
All right. I'm going to order a $4,000 signature bond through a pretrial per judge. I'm going to order a stay away from the incident location, 3200 Lenox Road East, apartment B402. There will be a one-time police escort allowed to return to that property to get her personal belongings. And I understand that PD Wills stated that the victim will be moving out on the 25th of this month. So I would allow an escort after that date on the June 26th, a second escort to determine whether the victim still resides there. And if she doesn't, she can reside there on the 26th or after.
Your Honor, may I inquire, did that information
Voy a
come?
dar, one moment, please.
Okay.
Voy a ordenar una fianza de $4,000 bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio por el juez. También que haya una escolta que la acompañe para ir y retirar todas sus pertenencias personales del departamento y que se mantenga alejada de la dirección del 3200 de Lenox Road, el departamento B402, y puede, después que la víctima se haya ido el junio 25, yo permito que con otra segunda escolta de un oficial de policía vaya con ella a la residencia para asegurarse que la víctima ya no está más ahí. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may inquire, did that information about the move out date come from Ms. Lazard? Because we were not able to contact her. I don't know if the PD's office was, but I have concerns if this information wasn't coming from the victim directly.
I spoke with my client and she shared that information. And so we're just asking that she be allowed to return back to determine whether or not Ms. Lazard is still at the premises on the 25th.
Yo quisiera confirmar de que esta información de que la víctima se mudará en el 25 viene solamente desde la víctima. Yo hablé con mi clienta y ella me ha dicho, y por eso solicitamos una escolta para que la acompañe después del 25 y confirme que se ha mudado.
I'm going to stick with the ruling that there be a stay away until June 26th.
Yo permanezco con la orden de que se mantengan alejadas hasta el junio 25.
She can have a one-time escort between now and that date in order to get personal belongings while she stays somewhere else in the interim.
Y puede tener una escolta, ir con un oficial a retirar sus pertenencias personales desde hoy hasta el día 25 y debe ella permanecer en ese periodo de tiempo en otro lugar.
And she will have to arrange for a second police escort on or after June 26th to determine whether Ms. Lazari has moved and she can stay there after that date, but only after law enforcement has gone to that property and determined whether or not the victim still lives there.
Y ella debe conseguir un segundo oficial de la policía como escolta para el día 25 o después del día de junio 25 para asegurarse de que ya la víctima no está presente y también que el oficial confirme esta información.
What I'm concerned about now is whether the defendant who's getting out on a signature bond will go back to the Embassy Suites because there's no further contact, so they can't have any contact at work. Can that happen?
Yo no sé qué puede pasar, si puede volver ella al trabajo a Embassy Suites, porque tiene una orden de no tener contacto con ella. ¿Puede suceder eso?
I'm not sure if she's able to avoid having contact or if they work the same shift. I would ask that my client, if she can answer that.
Yo voy a pedir que conteste eso mi clienta porque no estoy segura si ellas trabajan en el mismo horario o cómo es.
Buenas tardes, doctora.
Good afternoon.
Yo y Dexy trabajamos en el mismo horario, en la misma área y el mismo, todos juntos.
We work together in the same area and during the same shift.
Yo, bueno, le pido perdón si hice una falta contra ella. Yo no quiero más violencia, más continuar, por favor, porque yo soy la encargada del departamento. Yo no tengo a dónde ir.
I wanna really ask for forgiveness because I don't want any more of this, any more violence. I am in charge of the apartment. ¿Algo más? Anything else?
I would ask that she not say anything else on the record.
Okay, no, su abogada no quiere que hable más.
We understand, but we have to make sure there has been a cooling off period between the defendant and the victim.
Entendemos, pero tiene que haber un periodo de tiempo para que se calmen las cosas entre ustedes y no lo hay.
Your Honor, will you break that bond down? There are two charges.
2,000 on each.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Is that, pretrial or jail?
Pre-trial.
Yeah, I said pre-trial earlier.
Okay.
Do you have someone there who speaks Spanish?
Yeah, they'll find somebody.
Okay.
Okay, you're done. You can have a seat.
I guess the only dilemma that I have, and I'll move on, is the work, but they're to have no further contact.
Creo que el único dilema que tengo es que es por el trabajo, pero no pueden tener más contacto.
I would ask my client if it's possible, she can change her shift so that she can avoid contact and maintain her employment.
Voy a preguntar a mi clienta si ella puede cambiar su turno de trabajo y mantener su trabajo, su empleo.
No, porque ese es el único horario que hay en el trabajo donde yo trabajo más de 10 meses con esa compañía.
No, that's the only shift available that I've worked during 10
Okay.
months in that company.
So can you inform her that she's going to have to find other employment?
Entonces, usted tendrá que encontrar otro trabajo. Why?
If you
Because she
have-
cannot have any further contact.
Porque usted, la señora jueza dice que usted no puede tener más contacto con ella.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
gracias.
Position number 3.
Is that it for you, Madam Interpreter?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe so. Thank you.
All right, Deputy, we don't have any other cases that need an interpreter, is that correct?
That is correct, Judge. You can have a seat over there.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Park, come on in.
Thank you.
Park.
This
Position
is,
car.
go ahead. Go ahead, this is position 3.
No, position 4, car.
23 CR 003785D. And I'm not sure how to pronounce the first name, but Carr, 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property. Pre-trial?
This is her first arrest. She got the FTA warrant out of done with it though.
All right,
That
State.
first,
Oh, go ahead.
no, keep going, keep going.
Okay, State.
Yes, Your Honor. The day of the offense was May 23rd, 2023, located at 496 Boulevard, Northeast Atlanta. The officers arrived at the location, Bedford Pines apartment, after a damaged property call. Officer met with the leasing manager, Miss Carol Cooley, who's the victim in this case. Miss Cooley stated that her rear passenger tires were slashed. She told defendant that the defendant was being evicted and that her last day to move out was May 23rd, 2023. Ms. Cooley recalled that the defendant was extremely upset about moving out, but that same day, the defendant friend helped pack defendant's apartment, and during that time, the defendant's friend parked right behind Ms. Cooley's car. Ms. Cooley stepped out to check to be sure the defendant was moving out, and before stepping back into her home, Ms. Cooley noted that nothing was wrong with her tires. A few hours after the defendant and their friend left, Ms. Cooley noticed that her rear tires were slashed. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant. She also stated that she had to get the marshals involved to put the defendant's belongings out in the residence. She also stated that the defendant was not allowed back in the apartment and that it costed her $153.60 to replace her tires. Because of this and the FTA out of Dunwoody, the state recommends a $1,000 surety bond to stay away from the location, no further contact from Carol Cooley, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And if Ms. Cooley is on the call, we'd like to sound for her.
You're right. Ms. Cooley,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon. Do you wish to make a statement to the court?
Not really, just, if Ms. Carr and her guests can just,
That was the first or yes or no. If you are going to make a statement.
yes, ma'am.
I have to swear you in. All right.
Okay.
Raise your right hand for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then go ahead.
I just would like for Ms. Carr and her guests to just ensure that they stay away from my vehicle, cost me no more money, and also stay away from Bedford Pine Apartments in totality. She's not allowed on property at all for any reason. And other than that, I'm okay.
All right, thank you for that. State, are you complete with your
Yes, Your Honor.
presentation? Okay,
Yes, Your Honor, no more from the state.
all right, go ahead, PD Wills.
And I would just like to confirm that that address is 496 Boulevard Northeast in Atlanta.
Yes,
that the
ma'am.
address you have?
That's the main address.
Okay,
I just wanted to confirm that my client does not reside there, so she should not have any issues with staying away. She is 22 years old. She's a Georgia native. She currently is employed by Taco Bell. She will not qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. She does have a high school diploma. She does not have any children. Your Honor, at this time, I would request a signature on bond and ask that she be released to the holding county and nothing further.
all right. I'm going to order a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. And with that signature bond, the release will be to Dunwoody Police Department, I'm assuming, who has the hold or released to the holding county or city. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons and guns while on bond. I'm going to order no further contact with Carol, is it Cooley? And I'm going to order a stay away from the whole Bedford Pines apartment complex. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
No?
Nothing.
All right. Thank you. That'll conclude it. Thank you for your time, Ms. Cooley.
Position number
Thank
3.
you. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Yes?
Position number 3.
Position number 1, Almond.
I've had 2, 3 or 1.
3.
Oh, is that Alpharetta? Go ahead, Alpharetta, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay. This is 23 CR 003781B, McQuell Brown McCart, charged with 1 count of reckless driving, 2nd count of driving, hit and run, and a 3rd count willful obstruction. Pretrial said first arrest previously. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. The date of the offense was on May 13th of this year, located at 615 Cascade Avenue Southwest. An officer observed a red Lexus drive out of a gas station at a high speed down the street, crossing double yellow lines. The officer was flagged down later by Mr. Jalini Dia, the victim, and the other driver, who was hit by the red Lexus that was occupied and driven by the defendant, which was the same car that the officer previously saw leaving the gas station. Mr. Diaz stated that he was experiencing some neck pain, and the officer later found the red Lexus with the defendant occupying it, with the driver's side missing a wheel and the car on fire. The defendant initially refused to put her hands behind her back and resisted even further when the officer tried to use handcuffs. While we understand that the defendant is a first offender, the state would recommend a $5,000 surety bond for reckless driving, $2,000 surety bond for hit and run, a $500 surety bond for obstruction, no driving whatsoever, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. And if the victim is here today, we'd like to sound for him.
Give me your recommendation again, counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. It's a $5,000 surety bond for reckless driving, $2,000 surety bond for hit and run, a $500 surety bond for obstruction, no driving, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
What's the total?
The total would be $7,500, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, PD Wills.
Your Honor, I would argue that a $7,500 bond would be a punitive bond to serve as punishment for my client. These are driving offenses. This is her first arrest. My client is 39. She is currently unemployed. However, she does have a high school diploma. She also has a degree from Johnson C. Smith University. She does not have any children. And so again, I would ask for either a signature bond or the lowest bond that Your Honor is willing to grant in this case.
All right. I am going to,
Your Honor,
yes.
just very briefly, I wanted to renew my request for to sound for the victim if they are here today.
All right.
Thank
Is
you.
the victim, is it Charlene? Was it Diaz? Is the victim here on this case?
Charlene Diaz.
Yeah, Charlene Diaz. Don't think they are. Thank you. All right. I'm going to order a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. The first charge being $1,000 on the reckless driving and $1,000 on the driving hit and run and $500 on the willful obstruction for a total of $2,500. SOB jail. I'm going to order no driving unless she has a valid driver's license through DDS. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
Nothing from the
thank
state,
you.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Position number 1, Almond.
'23 CR 003786A, Geneva Almond, 1 count of battery, retrial.
Second arrest, 2017, possession of marijuana.
State.
Your Honor, the date of the offense was May 6th of this year, located at 4855 Old National Highway in College Park. The officer was dispatched to 3717 College Street in reference to what happened to a business called Heroes Haven. Once he arrived, officer made contact with Miss Marcia Gamble, the victim, and the victim's mother, Utashia Gamble. The defendant was a former co-worker of the victim's mother. They worked together at Club Blaze on Moreland Ave until the defendant got drunk and went, quote, crazy, end quote, in the dressing room and tried to attack another worker. The defendant showed up the next day at Club Blaze and found out she was fired due to her actions earlier at the business and left angrily because she thought it was because of Miss Utashia Gamble that she lost her job. Later that morning at 2:30 a.m., the defendant and another employee of Heroes Haven, Courtney Myers, showed up and asked for Miss Marcia Gamble to be their waitress. A fight broke out and resulted in one of the girls using a chair to strike the victim, and the victim also remembered seeing the defendant go into her purse and strike her with an item. The officer did confirm visible injuries. We were able to make contact with the victim, and the victim stated that she has never seen the victim before this incident and does not know the victim. She did state that the defendant worked at Club Blaze with her mother. She confirmed the events of the warrant and stated that she sustained a busted blood vessel in her eye, a busted lip, a knot on her forehead, and bruises on her leg. She also stated that she was fired from her job as a result of this incident. Due to the facts of this incident, the state recommends a $3,000 surety bond, a no further contact with Miss Marcia Gamble, stay away from the location called Heroes Haven, a one-day anger awareness class, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. And if Miss Gamble, the victim, is here today, we'd like to sound for her.
Is Miss Gamble, Marcia Gamble, on the call?
Yes, ma'am.
If you want to address the court, you have to put on your camera. Would you like to address the court?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Go ahead, PD Wills.
Thank you, Your Honor. Excuse me. My client is 32 years old. She is a native of Georgia. She is currently unemployed. I am requesting a signature on bond. This is my client's second arrest. Her last arrest was 6 years ago. She does deny the allegations as alleged. This incident happened some time ago. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the date. I believe it happened last month, Cinco de Mayo.
May 6th.
Yes, ma'am. My client states that there was a melee that broke out, but she was not the aggressor. She is a very petite woman. She's only 5'2", weighs 100 pounds, and is very curious. Normally, many establishments have video footage, so we're just going off of this alleged victim in her words. So again, I would ask for a signature on bond. She has no objection to staying away from the incident location. She has no objection to having no further contact with the alleged victim.
All right. I'm going to order the $3,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Marcia Gamble. And I heard a second name. Are there two victims or one?
There's only one victim, Your Honor.
Okay, Marcia Gamble. No
Yes,
further
ma'am.
contact with her. Stay away from that Heroes Haven. Is at the 3717 College Street.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is there another place to stay away from? Club Blaze on Moreland Avenue or not?
I think the state may recommend that as well, but specifically Heroes Haven was what we are most concerned about.
That's where the majority of the incident occurred.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the defense.
All right.
Yeah, nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Position 6, Tanisha Carter.
Your Honor,
Yes.
just to clarify, is the stay away order going to be from Heroes Haven and Club Blaze or just Heroes Haven? I wasn't super clear on that. Because
I'm not clear either.
Okay,
I'm
because
trying
Ms.
to find
Chung
out
did say
what
it has
happened.
concern at both locations.
Yes, I heard facts about both, but that's why I was asking Ms. Chung. So what are you requesting, Deputy Falk?
Since
So
Ms.
Ms.
Chung did say she has concerns for both locations, we will ask for both locations as a stay away.
Okay, I will add in Club Blaze on Moreland Avenue as well.
Yes, Your Honor. And I am double checking the address of Heroes Haven. I just realized that there might be a little bit of a confusion. I'll just briefly confirm
Okay. Okay.
the location.
All right.
Excuse me, Judge Mincy, they had already took her out the courtroom. Are we still on the other position?
We're just clarifying the other address. It's okay.
Can we just put it in the chat?
Yes, I
she
can do that.
put it in the chat, Ms.
Okay,
Chung.
thank you.
Okay, thank
Go
you.
ahead, Deputy.
This is position 6, Tanisha Carter.
Okay. This is 23 CR 003775G. Tanisha Carter, charged with 1 count of willful obstruction, to law enforcement officer, pretrial.
36 total. Last arrest was 2021 probation. She got an open FTA out of Lawrenceville and another fade to appear that's open out of Decatur. 2019 possession of cocaine conviction and possession of a firearm by convicted felon. 2020 possession of cocaine, possession of marijuana, defective brake light conviction. That's it. Well, that's all I got. State.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, State. I didn't realize I was muted. I'm sorry. State.
Thank you, Judge Mincy. This incident happened May 28th, 2023. Officers were conducting a suspicious person stop when they saw the defendant smoking a marijuana blunt. They did approach her, ask her for identification, which she provided, but while they were running her information, she fled on a bird scooter. The officers were not able to locate her until June 13th of 2023, when she was seen by the officers and arrested on this warrant. The defendant currently actually has foreign holds out of DeKalb and Gwinnett County, as well as an open felony case under 23 CP 219353, where she has a no bond for trafficking in illegal drugs and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, as well as possession of a firearm during by a convicted felon. There is currently a $5,000 surety bond in place. However, between the holds and the current felony charges, we're just going to go ahead and recommend a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and she can deal with her various and sundry other cases at her earliest opportunity. That's all for the state.
All right, P.D. Wills.
No objection to a signature bond, Your Honor.
All right, I will enter that $2,000 signature bond through the jail and releasing her to whichever of the foreign holds come first. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons and guns while on bond. And that will be it for the order.
Position 23, Waters.
And Ms. Bridgewater, we would make one request on Ms. Carter's case. If we can go ahead, I highly doubt she is getting out on the trafficking bond. So if we can go ahead, if she is not released, if we can put her on the SAP calendar at the next available date.
Excuse me, can I say something? Please. Can I please say something?
Ma'am, I do not recommend that you say anything unless it's directly related to your bond. You received a signature.
I understand. I just left court. I got bonds on my other charges.
Okay, you don't need to say anything else.
I know.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and have a seat.
I will place that on the SAP calendar.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
You're welcome.
All right, we're on position 23. 23 CR 003771C. Deontay Waters, 1 count of battery, family violence, pretrial.
Second arrest, 2021 obstruction, simple battery. That's it.
That State.
Yes, Your Honor. Detective Gruss of APD did a follow-up investigation after Sharabia Hood, the mother of defendant's children, reported being assaulted by the defendant at 2423 MLK Junior Drive. Apparently, a heated argument about what they were going to do with their 2 young children had ensued. when Ms. Arabia tried to leave after the argument got heated enough, that's when the defendant, Mr. Tiante, walked up and punched Mrs. Arabia Hood, and which resulted in a visible knot and swelling. This all took place in children who are about 7 years old.
I'm getting every other word.
We are
You said the
recommending
children. I'm sorry, hold on. I'm getting every other word from you. At least I am. I'm not sure if everybody.
It's the same here. It is storming downtown. If he's downtown,
Yes.
yeah, so that could be the reason why.
So
I
you
am
said there
downtown,
were
yes, ma'am.
two, yeah, there were two kids. I heard that part. And you said the ages, but I didn't get that.
Yeah, the ages are about 4 and 7 years old.
Okay.
For bond
And I
recommendation,
heard that the victim's name is Sharabia Hood. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am. Sharabia, that's SHARAB as in boy, IA.
Okay. All right, go ahead with your recommendation. I'm sorry, I didn't want to break you up there.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, yes, Your Honor. $3,000 surety bond. And if it may please the court, I would like to sign for the victim.
All right. Sharabia Hood on the Zoom call. Don't think she is. All right.
With the and my apologies for not mentioning it earlier, but with the bond conditions be no further contact with Ms. Arabia Hood, stay away from 2423 MLK Junior Drive, a 1-day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right. Ms. McLeod?
No, actually, this is my case, Your Honor, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, PD Kim.
Yes, Mr. Waters, he is 27 years old, Your Honor, and he served in U.S. Navy. He's a veteran. He served for 5 years, and he's currently employed at Kroger as a pharmacy tech. Your Honor, so he's not going to be qualified for public defender services. He has a strong alibi and evidence to prove that he was in Texas on that particular day, October 13, 2022. We suspect that Ms. Hood is very angry, and she wants to file false report to cause my client to lose a job or to be arrested. We would like to request for a signature on bond for this specific case because he was not even here in Georgia at the time. They do have 2 children, and 7 and 4 years old, and they do not live together. She moved out, and right now my client has a full lease. He's a full leaseholder for 2423 MLK. And I think that's about it, Your Honor. He graduated from high school, and he is 1 month away from being a barber as well as being pharmacy tech. He's always working hard to provide financially for young children. Thank you very much. We would like to request for a signature on bond.
All right. I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm going to order a stay away from 2423 MLK Junior Drive. I'm going to order no further violent contact with the victim. And if there's to be any visitation with the children, that be facilitated by a third party. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. That's all I'll order at this time.
Your Honor, 2423 MLK is my client's address, and he is a leaseholder, and Miss Sharabia, who does not reside there. Can we have a one-time law enforcement officer escort visit to make sure that Miss Who does not reside there?
Right. So when Mr. Waters is released on the signature bond, he needs to arrange for a law enforcement escort to go back to the property with him to ensure that the victim does not reside there. and then he can reside there.
Thank you.
All right.
Position 15, Miller.
Okay. This is 23 CR 003768E. Trayvon Miller, charged with 1 count of battery family violence, pretrial.
Fourth arrest, 2021, entering a restricted area of airport, possessing a weapon or long gun. That is open in Clayton County. 2016 forgery, 4th degree conviction. 2013 possession of marijuana, drug paraphernalia. Out of Alabama, I think. That's it.
Your Honor, pretrial is correct. That case was out of Alabama.
Okay.
So this incident happened June 13th, 2023 at 11:29 p.m. at 3343 Kingsborough Road Northeast in Atlanta. Miss Bria Pegwe, and I apologize for the mispronunciation of her name, stated that the defendant, whom she shares a child and lives with, were in a verbal argument. The defendant tried to take the keys from her and slapped her multiple times in her face when she tried to retrieve her keys. Officer observed red marks to Miss Pegway's face and welts on both sides of her face. We have had an opportunity to speak with the victim in this case, and she stated that she would be here on Zoom. She is here on the Zoom if Your Honor would like to sound for her at the conclusion of my recitation of facts. She stated that they have been together for 2 years, share a 6-month-old child, and reside together at that address at apartment 2309. She stated that this was, in her opinion, an isolated incident. She does want contact, but she also acknowledges that the report is in fact correct. Our concern right now is that this happened last night at 11:29 p.m. 24 hours hasn't even passed at this point. So we do have some serious concerns that there's a lack of cooling off period involved, which could lead to additional friction between these two individuals. We are asking for a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from that 3443 Kingsborough Road address in Atlanta. Apartment 2309, no further contact with Miss Pegway, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1-day anger awareness. I will put the Miss Pegway's name in the chat to the litigation manager so she has the correct spelling, but at this time we'd like to sound for the victim.
I think we see it on the screen. Miss Pegway's Pegues.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Do you wish to address the court today?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I do want to say,
It's a yes or no, and if you do want to say something, then I will swear you in and you have to turn on your camera.
oh,
So you
okay,
can't
no.
say, no, I don't want to say anything, but I want to say something. You got to tell me one way or the other, yes or no. You are
No.
allowed to do that if you want to tell me something or make a statement. Would you like to do that?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you for listening in, for your time. You can mute yourself and we'll continue with the hearing, okay? And you can listen. All right. Was the state finished? I apologize.
We have, Your Honor.
Okay. PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Miller is 28 years old. He was born in New York. However, he has been here in Georgia for 19 years with his mother and sister. Your Honor, my client says that Ms. Bria Pugis is actually at her mother's house right now. So we would like to request to return to 3443 Kingsborough Road, where Mr. Miller is actually leaseholder. Your Honor, he denies the allegation. He says that he was trying to protect 7-month-old son who he was holding. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and we also want to have a no further violent contact. That's what my client prefers. And yet, if Ms. Bria Pugis not want my client to contact her, he's willing to comply to that request as well. Your Honor, my client has a 3 years of college at Alabama, and he graduated. That's it, Your Honor. And he graduated from Jacksonville, Georgia High School, I guess. And right now, that's it, Your Honor. We would like to request for a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for a maximum $1,000 bond. Thank you.
Miss Pegwas,
Yes,
are you able to turn on your camera?
yes,
Can you do that for me, please?
yes. 1 second, please.
Okay.
Okay. That's all. Album. Okay, my camera's on.
Okay, I need to ask you a
Hello.
question. Do you have a top on or do you have a top on or a blouse on?
Yes, I have a shirt on.
You have a shirt on? Okay, well,
Yes.
because we had to make sure you're properly dressed as this court, and when you first saw it, I could only see your
Yeah, I'm
shoulders.
dressed. I was getting my
All right, I want you to raise your right hand. I have
no,
a
I'm
question.
getting my lashes done, but I have
Okay. All right, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, put your hand down, and I need to know who resides at 3343 Kingsborough Road, apartment 2309.
We both do, but his name is on the lease. Trayvon's name is on the lease.
And so do you reside there right now?
Yes. Well, I live there, but as of from last night, I've been at my mom's.
But you have been residing there. You still have items and things at the property?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. All right,
Okay.
thank you. All right, are you complete, PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize. I was kicked out from the Zoom. I just got back in.
Okay, I'm not for sure if I noticed. I was focusing elsewhere, but I'm glad you're back. I'm going to go ahead and order this $3,000 surety bond. I'm a little concerned here about the incident. And with that $3,000 surety bond, I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Ria Pegway or Pegas, not sure how to pronounce it. I'm going to order that the defendant stay away from 3343 Kingsborough Road, Northwest 2309 is the apartment. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons and guns while on bond. And if there's to be visitation with the child or children, that be facilitated by third parties or a third party. And since Miss Pegway or the victim stated that she still has items there and just hasn't resided there as of last night, that is why I'm ordering the stay away for now. So Mr. Miller will have to find somewhere else to live in the interim while he's on bond with this case. Anything else, counsel? Nope. All right, next case, deputy.
Position 7, Edwards. Okay, we're gonna hold off on position 7. We're just gonna do position 14. Mr. Marriott.
Okay.
Go next. Have a seat in the front, first row, Mr. Edwards.
All right, this is position 14, 23 CR 003767F. That's Jamil Marriott, charged with 1 count of battery, family violence, 2nd count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Pretrial.
Second arrest, 2010, possession of marijuana out of Florida.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened. Let me just. On June 13th, 2023 at 5415 Welcome All Road, apartment M8 in Atlanta. Officers spoke with Jamia Brewer. Ms. Brewer stated she allowed the defendant, with whom she shares children, to come over and assist with the children while she completed an interview. Brewer asked the defendant to leave after being unable to complete the interview, but the defendant refused and would not relinquish their child. As Ms. Brewer attempted to take their child, the defendant struck her with an open hand and pushed her against the wall. He did all of this while holding their child, JB. Ms. Brewer had a visible lump on her head and a bite mark on her finger. The defendant did claim that it was Ms. Brewer who struck him and choked him, but the officers did not to contact Ms. Brewer to no avail. We were unable to contact her via voice or text message. And we are requesting in this case a $2,000 surety bond, stay away from 5415 Welcome All Road. That is due to the lack of cooling off period at this point. Less than 24 hours have elapsed since this incident happened. We are also asking for no further contact with Ms. Jamia Brewer, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, 1 day anger awareness. I will say that Ms. Brewer was given a citation for simple battery since the officers could not see any visible injury and due to the defendant's allegations. However, we are requesting that surety bond and the stay away and no further contact because there hasn't been a sufficient cooling off period. We do have concerns at this point about a risk of reoffense. Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, my apologies. We would like to sound for Ms. Jamia Brewer just in case she is here on the Zoom today.
All right, Jamia Brewer. Jamia Brewer. All right, go ahead, PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Marriott is 32 years old. Your Honor, it was my client who called the police twice, and my client believes there's gotta be some kind of audio proof that it was him who was continuously getting beaten up by Miss Jamia Brewer, who also has a citation for simple battery because, I mean, Jamia Brewer has a light skin and my client has a darker skin. So it doesn't show. That does not mean he was beaten up by Miss Jamia Brewer. Your Honor, they do not reside together. So my client has no objection to stay away from wherever she, and my client has no objection to no further contact either. They have not had any relationship. They only share children, and those children, he would like to see them through third-party transfer. My client has been here in Georgia with his 4 brothers, 2 sisters, and mother and father here. He has a strong community ties here in Georgia. He's not going to run away, even though he was born in Florida. And he is currently employed at Cold Fried as a delivery driver. He also graduated from high school. We would like to request for a signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order the $2,000 surety bond. And I guess that's, I'm not sure the breakdown, 1,500 on the battery and
Your Honor, yes, we would ask.
What's the breakdown?
We would ask for 1,500 on the battery, 500 on the cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. My apologies, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And so 1,500 and 500 with that $2,000 surety bond, I'm going to order to stay away from 5415 Welcome All Road, apartment N8. No further contact with the victim, Jamia Brewer. And if there's visitation allowed with the children, that be facilitated by a third party. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further from defense, Your Honor.
All right.
Position 7, Edwards.
All right, this is
Judge, we're gonna
23
go ahead
C.
and do Mr. Edwards. He's gonna just sit at the first row. He can hear you.
Oh, okay. 23 CR 00377 Alton Edwards charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Retrial.
13 total. Last arrest was in March, obstruction out of Hall County. He got open obstruction, DUI. Fulton County, we got fleeing an officer DUI, aggressive driving. That was the 2023 DUI. 2019 shoplifting conviction.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant also has cycles out of South Carolina, making him a multi-state offender at this point. This incident happened at 7010 Peachtree Dunwoody Road, Sandy Springs, which is the North Springs MARTA station. The defendant rode the bus to the end of the route at that location. He was asked if this was his location. Then the operator told him how to get to his location when he indicated it was not. However, the defendant refused to leave the bus. At that point, the operator was not comfortable with the defendant remaining on the bus, contacted MARTA police. After MARTA police arrived, the defendant still refused to leave the bus after being asked by MARTA police to leave. So at that point, he was taken under arrest. The surety bond on this is currently set at $1,000 surety bond. We are asking that it remain the same given the defendant's lengthy history. We are also asking for him to stay away from MARTA, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And given the extent of the history, we are asking for a BHET.
Okay.
And just to clarify, not an MHET, just to see if a social worker can go out there and talk to him.
Okay. All right, PD Wills.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 67 years old. At this point, I do not think a BHET is ripe. I was able to speak with Mr. Edwards and he was very coherent, lucid, and I didn't have any concerns. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently unemployed. He does receive Social Security income and will not qualify for the Public Defender's Office services. He does have a high school diploma as well as a degree in business and accounting. In light of this being a criminal trespass, I would request a signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask that his bond be reduced from the $1,000 that is currently set at. I did speak with him about staying away from MARTA, and he did not have any objection to that.
All right. I'm going to order we continue at the $1,000 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from MARTA. Got to find other means of transportation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons or guns while on bond. And that's all out order at this time.
If you can hear me, I haven't.
I'm sorry?
I haven't done drugs or alcohol in over 25 years. And I don't own a firearm.
Okay, you good. You good, Mr. Edwards. Position 9, Mr. Glenn.
Right. This 23 CR 0037888Y, Jeremy Glenn, charged of 1 count of driving, hit and run, 2nd count of DUI under the influence of drugs, and a 3rd count of failure to obey traffic signal or light. Pre-trial.
22 total, 2018 probation violation. Yeah, 2011 probation as well. I think he may have had some FTAs, but if he did, they were dismissed. If he did. That's it.
State.
Your Honor, we are also showing two parole violations as well as the information that pretrial just provided. This incident happened at 8455 Holcomb Bridge Road in Alpharetta on June 13th. The defendant was driving a Chevy Silverado, ran a red light and struck Mr. Derrickson Carranza Kalunga, who was walking his bicycle in a crosswalk. So he actually hit him, like his person. The defendant then made a U-turn and drove up to the victim, who was lying on the ground. The defendant then left the scene. Another officer saw the defendant driving and conducted a traffic stop. At that point, the officer conducted field sobriety, and the defendant did not pass the field sobriety, and he was placed under arrest for driving under the influence of drugs, as well as the other charges. There is traffic video in this case, Your Honor. We haven't had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Carranza Kalunga. He stated he was on his bike on the crosswalk when the defendant struck him. He stated that the defendant came back and then left, and he had to be taken to the hospital where he received stitches on his leg and had road burn on his left arm. He will have a follow-up appointment to get the sutures removed. We would like to sound at this point for Mr. Carranza Kalunga. And I would just like to say this situation could have been much worse. This is the fact that a person was struck and was laying on the ground and was then left there is unacceptable. And so the state's recommendation on this case, there is a current bond of $5,000 on the hit and run, $7,500 on the DUI, and $1,500 on the failure to obey traffic circle. We are asking that those bonds remain in place given the length of this defendant's history as well as the severity of this offense. We are also asking that the defendant not drive and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. So that would be a total of a $14,000 surety bond, as well as the conditions of no driving, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, PD Wills.
Oh, Your Honor, before we sound for Ms. Wills, if we could sound for the victim, please.
Yes, is Mr. Carranza Kalunga on the line, the victim in this case? All right, PD Wills.
Thank you, Your Honor. While this incident could have been much worse, it wasn't. The facts are the facts. My client is 43 years old. He is currently employed as a landscaper. He will qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He does have very limited income. I would ask that his bond be reduced from the $14,000 where it's currently set. He is unable to make that bond.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order a surety bond in the amount of $11,500. That'll be $5,000 on the driving hit and run, $5,000 on the DUI, and $1,500 on the failure to obey traffic signal or light, for a total of $11,500. Did I do my math right? I think so. I'm going to order.
You did do it right, Judge.
All right, thank you. I am going to order no driving at this point. Sounds like may not have a license anyway, a valid driver's license at this point. So that'll be no driving unless he needs to seek emergency help or go see his lawyer or go to court. So if he needs to go to work or anything else, he'll have to take Uber or ride shares. So the two exceptions will be for medical, court, and attorney. Also, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. I think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Yeah, the signature bond.
No. Position 5, Demetrius Carter.
Twenty, excuse me, 23 CR 003774D, Demetrius Carter, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property, 2nd count of simple battery, family violence. Pretrial.
11 total, 2020 DUI. We got an open DUI in Fulton County. 21 CR 006759D. He don't have any violent history that I saw. All right, that's it.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. The date of the offense was April 25th of this year, located at 344 Bass Street Southwest in Atlanta. The officer was dispatched to this location based on a dispute. The officer made contact with Miss Sonia McKinney, who's the victim. She stated that she and her ex-boyfriend, defendant, whom she has lived with 2 years, had separated. Before the incident, Miss McKinney shared that she left all of defendant's belongings out on the front porch. The defendant was to leave the keys to her bedroom on the porch as well. The defendant somehow managed to open the house door and enter her bedroom and state, "If I can't have you, no one can have you. I will kill you and then I will kill myself," end quote. The defendant then slapped her face, walked out of the room, knocked several items down, causing glass to shatter, and knocked the TV off the stand. Outside, the defendant went under the hood of her vehicle, snatched several wires and hoses, leaving his blood all over the vehicle. Officers did not see any visible marks on Miss Kinney. However, Miss McKinney positively identified the victim, and the officer captured this affirmation on his body camera. We were able to contact the victim, and the victim confirmed that they are no longer in a relationship with the defendant. They no longer live together, and they share no children. She also confirmed that the defendant mushed her in the face, knocked things off her dresser, knocked the television, causing damage, and that the defendant also damaged her car by hitting it with his car. She did state that nothing like this has ever happened before. She has stated that she has been in contact with the defendant since this incident, and he's been paying her to get her car fixed and will replace the television. While she's okay with having contact with the defendant, she does not want him to return back to her residence. Even though the victim is stating that she is comfortable, the state still would recommend a $5,000 surety bond. This would be broken down to $2,000 on criminal trespassing and $3,000 on simple battery to stay away from the location. No further contact with Miss McKinney, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and also 1 day of anger awareness. If Miss McKinney is also on the Zoom call, we would like to sound for her as well.
All right, Sonia McKinney. Sonia McKinney. Don't think she's on the Zoom call. PD Wills.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 47 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently employed, well, he owns his own business, and it's called In and Out Car Wash. He has owned that business for the past 5 years. Given the nature of his work, is highly dependent on the weather. So he does qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He does not have any children under the age of 18. I would request a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask that you give the lowest bond that you're willing to grant. I also had the opportunity to speak with Ms. McKinney, who stated that she is not fearful of Mr. Carter. She is okay with contact. She just does not want him to return to her residence.
All right, I'm going to order a $4,000 surety bond. And that will be $1,000 on the criminal trespass, $3,000 on the simple battery, for a total of $4,000 surety. I'm going to order stay away from 344 Bass Street Southwest, and no further violent contact with the victim, Sonia McKinney. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. That's it.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, can I say something, Your Honor?
I don't think your attorney's gonna want you to.
I just want to say that I was looking for a signature, but I don't have no money right now.
Mr. Carter, the judge has already given her order.
I can sit down.
Position 2, Baldwin. Left seat, sir.
All right, 23 CR 003787H, Stefan Baldwin, charged with 1 count of theft by taking, pretrial.
First.
Okay, state.
Yes, Your Honor. The date of the offense was in October 26, 2021 at 6615 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. The defendant entered Sandy Springs Jets Pizza, the victim, to pick up a DoorDash delivery order at the counter. But when the employee left the counter, the defendant placed a tip jar in his pants and left. The tip jar had between $35 to $40 in it. The officers investigated and made contact with DoorDash, which shared that the owner's account was under Shavonna Smith. When the officers called Ms. Smith, she confirmed that she was not driving that night, but her boyfriend was the one using her DoorDash account that night. Because the defendant is a first offender, the state would recommend a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial services to stay away from the location and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all from the state, Your Honor.
All right.
No objection to a signature bond, Your Honor. I would request that it go through the jail and not through pretrial.
How old is Mr. Baldwin?
He is 24.
Given that this happened in 2021, I will go ahead and, a little reluctant, but I will go ahead and grant the $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Then order stay away from 6615 Roswell Road. Was it Jets Pizza, I think?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Position 12, Hunt.
Judge, we can't hear you.
Are we having technical difficulties? Oh, wow. But your thing is saying mute, Judge. You're still muted. Oh, wow, this can't be happening. Hey, what's going on?
Holly, mute your mic.
All right, can you hear me?
Oh, that's good.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And the weather is trying to stop us, but we're gonna finish.
Should be number 12, Hunt.
Thank you. Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. 23 CR 003784F. Derek Hunt, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Offense date is June 13th, 2023.
16 total, 2018 and 19 operating without a license conviction. 2018 failure to appear, 2014 operating on suspended license conviction. That's it.
Okay. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This happened at the Optimist Loft Apartments at 2115 Piedmont Road. The officers were dispatched to that location. The defendant was in the area of the clubhouse and told the officers he lived there with his brother. But when they asked, the defendant was unable to provide an apartment number. He was then asked multiple times to leave the property. And when he was asked for ID, he refused to provide information. He was then issued a criminal trespass warning, but still declined to leave the property. So at that point, the officers placed him under arrest. And he also had an open warrant. For Mr. Hunt, we are showing not only charges out of Georgia, but he is a multi-state offender with charges out of Michigan. The most recent charge I am seeing is an April 9th, 2023 arrest for burglary in the first degree. For that reason, the state is recommending and if you'll just give me a moment, Your Honor, I clicked away from my, he currently has a $1,000 surety bond. We are recommending that that bond remain in place, no further, stay away, excuse me, from 2115 Piedmont Road, the Optimist Loft apartment, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state, Your Honor.
All right. And I don't like using my phone. I've got to figure out how to see everybody. So you just have to tell me who it is. I have limited viewing here.
It is myself, Miss Wills.
Okay. Wills, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Hunt is 31 years old. He does state that he resides at the location with his brother. He did provide me with a unit number as well. And I do wanted to note that the incident happened at the clubhouse on the property, not anywhere else on the premises. My client states that he is a traveling chef. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And he's been employed in that line of work for over 10 years. He will not qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He does have an associate's degree, and he states that he is currently unable to afford the $1,000 bond that is in place. As this is a criminal trespass, I would ask for a signature on bond, Your Honor, in this case.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Let me go ahead and continue with the I don't know. I think what I'll do a the $1,000 surety bond that we have. I'll keep that in place. I guess I'm concerned if he really does live there or not live there.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, I failed to mention that my client actually has a hold out of Cherokee County. So he will not be released. And so I would request a signature bond so that he could be released to the holding county. I have had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Hunt's attorney in Cherokee. And so he will need to resolve his criminal issues there. Mr. Hunt, I see your hand is up. Please do not say anything. It can be used against you. Let the judge give her order.
Pre-trial, our state, are we aware of this Cherokee County hold?
I don't know. State.
There is a hold out of Cherokee County that is showing on the jail manager system. Let me see. But the state would ask that he remain in custody on that $1,000 surety bond, and I'm not showing what the hold is based upon.
Hey, give me a moment. Who is this again?
12. Derek Hunt. 12.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
I did speak with Mr. Hunt's attorney in Cherokee County, and he did confirm that he does have some pending issues in Cherokee County that he needs to resolve.
And Your Honor, we're also showing on the warrant that his address is listed as Michigan. So I understand PD Wills's explanation that he is residing with his brother, but again, his warrant says that he's out of Michigan. He has charges out of Michigan, and then this new whatever it is out of Cherokee County.
Violation of a court order, burglary charge. Yeah.
My client.
What kind of charge?
It says violation of court order, but the offense is a burglary offense.
Oh, okay.
So that was based on likely based on the case that he was previously arrested for in April for burglary out of Cherokee County.
Burglary and stalking.
Your Honor, can I interject real quick?
Mr. Hunt, no, you don't need to say anything. You really do not need to say anything.
I know.
My client has informed me that he recently moved or relocated to Georgia from Michigan. And as I stated, he provided me with the 2115 Piedmont Road address, unit 5311, which is where he states he lives with his brother.
Your Honor, I have 2 kids. I do live there and I didn't violate my probation. I have my ankle monitor
Mr.
on.
Hunt, you don't need to say anything. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do not need to say anything. And I would ask that the jail mute the microphone.
All right. I know that in the past, sometimes I've ordered that they can be released to the holding county. And I don't want to make it conflicting for the jail that if they don't pick him up, then he would get out eventually. Or will he come back up on SAP?
Well, Your Honor, I mean, and the jail can answer that, but if he's given a signature bond and not picked up, he's going to be released to the signature.
They'll let him out, right?
Why
Right.
wouldn't why wouldn't the holding county or agency pick him up? And that is normally what we ask for. So is there a reason why Cherokee County would not pick up Mr. Hunt?
As Deputy Falk and I know, some have sat there for days and weeks, and eventually the jail has to let them go if they don't.
Well,
And it has been known to happen.
Okay, well, if that happens, this is a criminal trespass.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Deputy Falk.
I know it has happened because the agency that places the hold can opt to either pick them up on the hold or not pick them up on the hold. That is up to the agency in Cherokee County, not up to our county.
And I understand that. I mean, he is on probation or on bond for a burglary. So I do think that they have a vested interest in picking up Mr. Hunt and resolving whatever issue he has out there in Cherokee County. So I would ask again for a signature bond and also that it be part of the order that he only be released to the holding agency if that's possible.
Well, we're gonna say that. We're definitely gonna say that. The problem is what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do that, but if they don't pick him up, then he's released and he needs to keep in contact with his attorney to know when to come back to court, or else he'll have another warrant from Fulton County. So I will allow I'm gonna say a $3,000 signature bond through the jail so that so that the holding county Cherokee can pick him up. And if Cherokee does not pick him up, it's still a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Read my order. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Next, we have position number 11, Your Honor. Position number 11, Mr. David Horst.
All right. This is 23 CR 0037776A. David Horst, charged with 1 count of battery. Offense date 1/23, 2023, pretrial.
16 total, 2022. Possession of marijuana, drug trafficking out of Alabama that appears to be open. 2010 and 12 failure to appear. That's it.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at the Claremont Hotel at 789 Ponce de Leon Avenue on January 23rd of 2023. Officers were dispatched to that location in response to a domestic disturbance. They spoke with Meredith Horst, who stated that her former husband had become intoxicated. They exited the location around 3 a.m. The defendant then forced her into his car and began to hit her in the face. He drove her to Fayetteville, continued to hit her, and then she stated that the car ran into a ditch. She went to the Circle K, called the police. Fayetteville then advised her to make a report in Atlanta. Officers did notate that there were bruises to Ms. Horst's face. We did have a chance to speak with Ms. Horst. She stated that she and the defendant are divorced. They do not live together and they do share 3 children. She confirmed the events in the warrants and she confirmed her injuries. She stated she is not currently that she is currently not in fear. However, she also stated the defendant has been violent with her in the past, but this was the worst. She further stated that she tried to file for a TPO against the defendant, but it was denied by the judge because there was already an order in the divorce proceedings that they have no contact. And she stated that there has been some contact with the defendant since this incident. We are requesting, based on not only the information in the police report, but by the statements of Ms. Forrest, we are requesting a $5,000 surety bond that the defendant have no further contact with Ms. Forrest, that there be a stay away order. Well, we are not going to ask for a stay away order from the Claremont Hotel unless Ms. Horst resides there, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Again, as pretrial stated, this defendant has multiple cases in both Alabama and Georgia, and we do have serious concerns for the safety of Ms. Horst. If we could sound for Ms. Meredith Horst, Your Honor.
Ms. Meredith Forrest. Meredith Forrest. Don't think she's on. PD.
She is, and she just unmuted.
Oh, okay, Ms. Forrest. Cannot see her.
Her screen does not appear to be on. She'll need to turn that on, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Forrest, you're gonna have to turn your screen on.
Okay, I don't know how to, hold on. Device.
That's not you.
I'm sorry, I have to go into my phone and figure out how to.
You wish to address the court today?
I can't figure out the video.
You didn't sign on with video. Then I may not be able to let you do.
Okay, I'm okay with everything that's requested. I don't.
Okay. All right, thank you. PD Wills.
Thank you, Judge. And there is, I'm not sure if it's just me. If Ms. Horst could mute, I would mute.
Yes, Ms. Horst, you need to mute yourself. Thank you.
All right. My client is 43 years old. He has resided in the state of Georgia for the past 2 years. He says he is employed as a carpenter, and he has been been in that line of work for the past 23 years. He will not qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He does have a high school diploma. He is the father of 5 children. My client states that it was actually Ms. Horst, the alleged victim, who hit him, and that he acted in self-defense. My client also states that charges were brought against him in Fayetteville. However, those charges were dismissed. And then it's his understanding that Ms. Horst then went to Fulton County and also filed the same charges. My client denies that he knew about the warrant. And again, this incident did occur back in January. I would request a signature on bond. My client has not had any further issues or arrests as it pertains to Ms. Horst since that time. And if Your Honor is not so inclined to grant a signature bond, I would ask that you grant the lowest bond that you are willing to do so.
Okay. I'm going to order the $5,000 signature bond, and I'm going to make that signature bond through pre-trial per judge, just to be on the safe side. I'm going to order, and I guess I should have asked, no further violent contact with Ms. Forrest. And if there's to be any exchange of the children, that be done or facilitated right now through a third party. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. Anything else, counsel?
And Your Honor may have said this, and I may have just missed this. 1 day anger awareness, Your Honor.
Yes, 1 day anger awareness through pretrial. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
And Your Honor,
Thank
just
you.
given the history of this defendant and the allegations at hand, we would object to the signature bond in this case.
All right.
You're done
Who's
with it,
next?
Your Honor? Your Honor,
Who do we have next?
okay. Position number 10, Mr. Haddix.
All right. This is 23 CR 003782J, Curtis Haddix, charged with 1 count of hindering a person making an emergency telephone call. Pretrial.
Second arrest, 2007 failure to appear is what I got.
Okay. State.
Yes, Your Honor, this happened June 13th, 2023 at 11475 Haynesbridge Road in Alpharetta. Officers responded to the area of Atlee Place. They spoke with Miss Andrea Perez Gonzalez, who stated that she and the defendant were in a domestic dispute in Sandy Springs, and after the defendant picked her up from work. She stated that Mr. Haddix refused to pull over, would not let her out of the vehicle even after being asked to. She stated she then called 911 from her cell phone, at which time the defendant hung up on the call using the Bluetooth. She then disconnected from the Bluetooth and tried to call again, at which time he grabbed the cell phone from her hand. Miss Perez Gonzalez did say she would be here on the Zoom, so we would like to sound for her. She stated that they have been together for approximately 8 years and share a child, but they do not reside together. She stated she is not afraid of the defendant. However, we do have concerns given this incident happened yesterday, and Miss Perez Gonzalez was clearly trying to get out of the vehicle, clearly trying to have the defendant let her out. Not only did he refuse to, but then he hindered her ability to call and ask for any sort of assistance. So that does give us some pause that if there should be incidents going forward, that Ms. Perez Gonzalez may not be able to call for the requisite assistance given this situation. We would like to at this time sound for Ms. Perez Gonzalez. And again, the state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further contact with Ms. Perez Gonzalez. That's all for the state.
All right. PD Wills.
Actually, Your Honor, this is my case. I was wondering
PD
if we can sound for Andrea Gonzalez. I see her on the Zoom screen. Maybe she can testify first.
All right. Ms. Andrea Perez Gonzalez. Do you wish to address
Yes,
the
Your
court?
Honor.
Do you wish to address?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, raise your right hand. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, put your hand down. What would you like to say?
I just wanted to say it was just an argument and it kind of escalated, and therefore that's why I wanted to get out of the vehicle. I just wanted to de-escalate it, and therefore me trying to call 911 was me also trying to find a way to de-escalate it. He's a great person. He's never done anything like this. We've been together 8 years. We have a 3-year-old daughter, and we actually have been living together for the past month because our daughter has health issues, and he's been assisting me with that while I work. It was just small dispute, something minor, and it escalated, unfortunately. And I would also like to ask for somehow maybe a signature bond, because I cannot afford it and his family cannot afford it to be able to pay anything right now out of pocket to get him out.
Okay, do you want contact with Mr. Haddix?
Yes, we share a daughter, and he's a great father, and she's been asking for him, and it's her birthday this weekend. So.
Okay, are you in fear of Mr. Haddix? Are you in fear of Mr. Haddix?
No, ma'am.
All right. PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Haddix, is 36 years old, and he has been here in Georgia approximately 8 to 10 years. They have been dating for about 8 years, and Your Honor, as Ms. Andrea Gonzalez stated, they want to have a contact together. So we would like to request for no further violent contact so they can take care of their 4 years old daughter, soon to be 4 years old, this weekend. So that way she can get appropriate health care with her parents. For the sake of a child, I request for signature on bond so that way he can get out and continue with his professional cornhole player job so that way he can bring income to the family. He graduated from high school and also he has an associate degree. And Your Honor, he's playing for American Cornhole League as a professional player. We would like to request for stay away, and no further violent contact and signature bond. Thank you.
Who lives at the 1147 Hamesbridge Road? Who lives there?
No one lives there, Your Honor. That was where they were driving by.
Oh. All right, I'm going to order a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm going to order a no further violent contact with Andrea Perez Gonzalez. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I guess that'll be it.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Sorry, Your Honor, if someone could at least message me or get in contact with me about what I have to do to do that.
Yes, I'll be happy to. Yeah.
And let me add this to it just to make sure, since he probably has the means to pay for it, I'm going to order him to take an anger awareness course. And I used to say 1 day, sometimes 2 days, I don't know. But I'll just say that an anger awareness course.
And Ms. Gonzalez, I'm going to have our victim advocate, Ms. Cheney, reach out to you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, who's next?
That should be it. We don't have anyone else.
Is that it?
What about Perez?
Right. Was there a waiver filed on Perez?
Yeah.
There was. I have it.
Oh, okay.
We're almost there.
And I have 24 was released. Okay.
And 24 bond was paid.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, thank y'all.
All right.
So the only thing we're holding on now is the waiver. And I have it. Okay.
Okay. Position 18, 23 CR 0037448E. Is it Roman Perez, charge of 1 count of simple battery, family violence? Pre-trial?
19 total, 2017 suspended license. 2016, he had a couple of probations, one from 2015. 2015 failed to appear. His last violent charge was like 03 for simple battery.
All right. State?
All right. Your Honor, I believe this is Mr. Robinson's case.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. So as not to unduly delay us, if you will just give me a moment, Your Honor.
Okay. And this is your case, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
All right, I am ready to proceed, Your Honor. This incident happened on May 18th, 2023 at 117 Camelot Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. The defendant caused harm to Miss Octavia Prysock. Officers spoke with Miss Prysock and she stated that her ex-boyfriend, the defendant, was abusing her and refused to leave the location. She stated she was physically assaulted by him. After being involved in a verbal altercation, he began to hit her with his hands in the face and pushed her head against the wall inside the residence. Mr. Perez then fled the location on foot through the condominiums, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. The state is recommending in this case, Your Honor, a $3,000 surety bond. We are recommending no further contact with Miss Octavia Prysock. We are also asking for a stay away from 117 Camelot Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state.
All right.
Your Honor, my client is he's 41 years old. As the warrant stated, he is an ex of the alleged complaining witness. They are not in a relationship anymore, which is what my client tells me. He denies the allegations completely. He said he never hit her at all. They were just having a conversation and she wanted him to leave and he left. As Petralis noted, Your Honor, my client, his last violent anything was remote. I believe it was said in 2008. He's not been in any kind of situations like that anymore, Your Honor. I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond. And one of the reasons is this happened approximately a month ago. There were no injuries that the officers saw on the alleged victim, and there wasn't even anything to indicate that my client was even there. Nothing further, Your Honor. By the way, he had to waive because he was not feeling well, Your Honor. I'm just putting that out there.
Mm-hmm. And this happened May 18th?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. We had any contact with the victim at all, Deputy Falk?
Your Honor, if I said I didn't ask to sound for Ms. Prysock, I was mistaken. We do need to sound for Ms. Prysock. But let me just check our notes in my victim advocate notes and see if there was any contact.
All right, Ms. Prysock, Octavia Prysock, are you on the Zoom? Ms. Prysock.
Your Honor, we did have contact with Ms. Prysock. She stated that they are no longer in a relationship. They no longer live together and they do share 2 children. She further stated that she no longer lives at the incident location. So we will be not asking for the stay away order in this situation. She did state that nothing like this has ever happened before and there has been no violence since. However, we also will note that the defendant did call her from the jail and told her to attend the court hearing. So we do have some concerns for a risk of influencing of the witness in this case. So for that reason, we are still asking for the no further contact and the surety bond.
Okay. I'm going to order the $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no further contact with Octavia Prysock. If there's any visitation with the children, that it be facilitated by a third party. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I guess that's it, huh? Anything else?
Yes, Your Honor, nothing further from the state.
Nothing further from the defense.
All right.
Nope.
Thank you.
Come on, Holly.
Okay, here I go. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be June the 27th. Position number 1 is being reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 3 reset further notice with a total $2,500 SOB through the jail. Position 4, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 5 is going to the SAP calendar with a $4,000 total good bond. Position 6, SAP calendar, even though they have a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Per Ms. Falk, you requested that? I got you. Okay. Position 7 is going to the SAP calendar with the $1,000 good bond. Position 8, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 9 is reset to the SAP calendar with a total $11,500 good bond. Position 10, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. Position 11 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 12 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 13, SAP calendar with a $1,500 good bond. Position 14, SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 15, SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 16, SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 17, SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 18 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 19, SAP calendar with a $4,000 good bond. Position 20, reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. 21 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. 22 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 23 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. And position 24 is reset further notice as the defendant has been released. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Nope,
I'm good.
got it all.
Okay, everybody be safe. Have a good evening.
Be safe getting home. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Judge is on his way to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.